On behalf of the ICD and its students, we would like to thank you for the honor of joining us here at the Academy of Cultural Diplomacy in Berlin. And we'd like to take a moment to ask you a few questions in order to hear your thoughts and opinions on a wide variety of topics. To start things off, I would like to ask you a pretty heavy but interesting question. In the perspective of yourself and your country, what do you think are the biggest challenges that the EU will face within the next year or possibly in the next 5 to 10 years?
That's a difficult question, but it's a really relevant question because you see now that the European values, but also the European politics, are being attacked by politicians who use it to make themselves more popular in their own national political situation, which is really bad mostly for the most of people. Because what has been proven is that in times of war, but also economical situations, look for instance Corona, it's really important to work together with different countries. So I think it's important for politicians to explain why it's important, but also try to listen if people don't understand it or are critical about it.
And I'll pass it off to Nina.
Well, as we are in the Institute of Cultural Diplomacy, we would like to hear how would you define cultural diplomacy, and as well, what role do you think cultural diplomacy can play in the new world order?
It has a really important role. It seems almost so obvious that we seem to forget to focus on it. So the interaction between people, or for me personally, I think it's really important also to use art as a way of interaction between different countries, between diplomats, between politicians. It's the only way of staying safe with each other, because if we don't do that and we only use our laws or weapons to relate to each other, it's going to be a really difficult society or international context.
Yes, absolutely. I totally agree with that. And as a senior politician and as we are a student at the Academy of Cultural Diplomacy, we'd like to hear or would like an advice from you for the future leaders probably, or in this career of politics.
Well, the best advice I could give is stick to yourself. I've seen a lot of politicians who are beautiful people, who have beautiful dreams they want to achieve, and a political surrounding is a sort of system. And when you enter that system, they ask you or push you to act as everybody else, which is really interesting because most people come in politics to be a representative of a lot of people like them. So it's really important to stick to yourself, because you will be asked constantly in political sense, but also in media, or how you want to represent yourself, to do something you think you should do as a politician. But it's nonsense. It's nonsense that there's only one way of being a good politician. So it's really important to stick to yourself. Why do you want to go on politics? Who do you want to help? What are your personal emotions to be in politics? So you will be tested. The most difficulty in politics is that you're being tested and not able to stick to the plan and stick to yourself. But it's not the easiest road. It's the most difficult road. Yeah.
I totally agree with that, and I think you agree as well.
And as a woman in a field predominantly dominated by men, how do you believe that politics needs to change in order for young girls and women to be the leaders that they hope to be?
What I hope is that the new generation of women realize that they should not give too much attention on the fact that others would like to you to believe or think you're not welcome in politics, or you should act differently, or you should just react constantly on the other. I really believe that if you stop, it's not always possible, because it's irritating if you're being treated less as a minority or as a woman. But at the same time, I always think it's your problem. It's your problem with the fact that you cannot deal with the fact that there are different politicians. There's a diversity. deal with it yourself. It's not my problem because it's in essence it's a decision. I belong here. I have this right, and if you feel it and you believe it, you will see that others will treat you in that sense. And if they don't treat you like that, I mostly ignore those people. And interesting is, in the end, you will meet each other. It is possible that somebody who does not believe in you as a woman in politics will need you at a certain moment. And then, of course, you will be diplomatic and say, of course, because we are equal. If we need each other, there's a possibility to have a conversation. So stop believing that it's something you need to fight for. It's a right, and it's proven that women and men are both equal and are able to be a good politician or a bad politician. I mean, depends on what you're planning to do, but believe in yourself.
Well, I do thank you for your time. That was,
Thank you for your
the
time.
answers are oriented.
I will see you in 20 years in politics.
We definitely hope so.
I will call you, yes, and ask you why you didn't make the decision. So if that scares enough to at least try, it would be nice.
Taking advices from senior politicians helps a lot.
Good.
Indeed.
Good.
It was an honor and privilege to have you here with us, and thank you for your time again.
Thank you.
Thank you.